Layered stratus clouds catching the light, the sharp gleam of an anamorphic lens flare, a quiet train crossing bathed in golden hour warmth. These are the unmistakable signatures of director Makoto Shinkai. This photo shows him standing next to the poster for Your Name, the film that cemented his specific cinematic anime aesthetic in global pop culture. Today, I'm going to show you how to generate your own original, high-resolution key visuals in this exact style, and we're going to do it in under 5 minutes. To follow along, you'll need an account with Anafusion and access to their Flux model. We're going to build a scene layer by layer, focusing on how specific keywords control the atmospheric depth and the architectural detail of the frame. To replicate this look, we have to break it down into 3 mandatory pillars. Take a look at this suburban level crossing. Notice the yellow and black signal poles, the fencing, and the complex wiring. The first pillar is near-photographic, highly observed real-world backgrounds. Shinkai treats the sky as an active participant. These stratus formations are painted with heavy volumetric layers, functioning as a detailed subject that dictates the light for the entire scene. The third pillar is the color grading. Look at this reference image of a dark alleyway. You can clearly see the extreme contrast between the heavy shadows and the glowing neon. We need that single dominant light source and a rich blue to orange gradient. There is a common trap to avoid here. If you prompt the AI to create photorealistic characters to match those detailed backgrounds, the frame ends up looking like a computer render. This aesthetic relies on a specific visual gap. You place simple, expressive, mainline anime character designs against those obsessively detailed, painterly environments. Let's translate those pillars into actual instructions. We use a modular prompt formula that will collect this diagram on screen. We build it by combining style, location, time or weather, optical detail, and shot type. We start by establishing the baseline. We fill in Makoto Shinkai style key visual and set our scene at a suburban level crossing. Next, we have to pin down the exact time of day. If we leave this blank, the AI defaults to flat midday lighting. By adding golden hour and a stratus cloud volumetric sky, we force the model to commit to a clear directional light source. Finally, we add our camera physics. We drop in anamorphic lens flare, blue to orange gradient, and a cinematic wide shot to give the image an authentic, filmed-through glass quality. Writing out your prompt with this engineered structure forces the model to hit every specific element, preventing the AI from averaging your instructions out into a generic look. Now we put that formula to work. Inside the Anafusion interface, drop your text into the prompt box. Then explicitly select the Flux model from the drop-down menu. We specifically need Flux for this. Other models tend to over-sharpen foliage and lose the painterly textures. Flux handles dense urban details and soft cloud volumetrics while keeping the highlights intact. If your first generation comes back with a sky that looks muddy or noisy, you can fix it by heading to the Generation Settings panel and raising your sampling steps. Conversely, if your saturated colors are burning out, look at this comparison on screen. By lowering the CFG scale slightly, you bring those blown-out highlights on the left back into a balanced range on the right. Adjusting these technical sliders is a necessary part of the workflow. You are acting as the art director, fine-tuning the raw output until the color grade matches your intent. A technically accurate render provides the foundation, but the final result depends on directing the bittersweet emotional tone that defines Shinkai's work. Notice the composition in this architectural reference. The massive scale of the station roof completely dwarfs the people waiting below. We need to mimic that isolation by placing characters small in the frame and physically separated from each other. Next, we let the environment do the talking. Instead of relying on a character's facial expression, we use weather, like drifting snow, a meteor streak, or summer rain, to carry the dramatic tension. Look at the difference. The image on the left has characters smiling close to the camera, which feels crowded. The image on the right uses small, separated figures looking up at a meteor streak. The spacing and the weather create an immediate sense of longing. Pushing the scale of your space and treating the weather as active dialogue gives your AI art a distinct sense of authorship. And here is the final output. The light scatters realistically through the water vapor. The framing is quiet, and the location feels genuinely lived in. By structuring our prompt methodically, we controlled exactly how those volumetric clouds formed, locked in our golden hour lighting, and established that vital emotional distance. Now that you have the framework, you can swap out the location module. Try running the same formula for a rain-streaked train window or a school rooftop at dusk. You now have the exact pipeline required to step past random collages and build emotionally complex, cinematic worlds directly inside a single browser tab.